washout, folks. So stay calm, keep your eye on your portfolio, do some reading over the weekend, and you should be fine. Open up a cold one, watch the Super Bowl, and Monday we'll see what happens when the dust settles. Joining us now is Kelli Masters. She's an employment attorney. She's the first female NFL agent to represent a first-round draft pick. She's also a former Miss Oklahoma. Kelli, thanks for taking a few minutes for us while you're down there at Miami. How's it going?
It is going great. It is very busy and extremely, I don't think I've had any sleep in about a week. So, but it's good. It's exciting.
So, there's been some towns in Atlanta, it was cold, in Minnesota, it was snowing, and it's got to be beautiful to have the Super Bowl down in Miami. A lot more fun to be had down there, I would think.
Oh, my goodness. Miami does an amazing job hosting the Super Bowl. I think this is the third one that I have been to in Miami, and the weather is always beautiful, and the rain has held off. Sometimes we get some rain down here. But yeah, and I've been to some of the coldest Super Bowls in history, and I'm really, really enjoying this week. It's been, again, Miami does a wonderful job, has amazing venues and amazing setup for Radio Row, which is where I am now, for the NFL fan experience, all of the things that go on with Super Bowl week. They do a nice job, and the weather's great.
You're also the founder of KMM Sports. Must be tough to be a beauty queen in a sports agent type environment. But, yeah. I wanted to ask you, Kelli, this is, many are talking about the first female bisexual coach in the NFL, one of the San Francisco 49ers coaches.
It's interesting. Years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, I was at an all-star game, the East-West Shrine game, and I was introduced to a young woman who was walking around the sidelines with a friend of mine, Scott Pioli, who has been a longtime front office member and is now a member of the media. And he was introducing this young woman, Katie, to everybody on the sidelines. And I remember someone saying to me, Kelli, you were a trailblazer, and we're starting to see more and more women as agents, but do you think we'll ever see women in coaching or scouting? And I said, of course, why not? There are incredible women who are very smart, very capable, who love football and could very well step up and do an amazing job. And I met Katie that day so many years ago. She was, I think, a fifth grade basketball coach and had no experience in the NFL, had played football herself in a women's league, but had no coaching experience. But I knew and I met her, she was special. And now there are a number of women holding roles in all areas of the NFL. And I'm so proud of Katie. I know how hard it was for her to fight. She's great at what she does, but she had a lot of pushback. But she had people fighting for her and people standing up and saying it does not matter that she's a woman. She can do this job. And so I'm really excited for her and excited to see the progress.
Kelli, tell us about this event you're hosting tonight. What are you doing exactly?
So 5 years ago in San Francisco, I started, along with a friend of mine who is also a woman in the industry, started something called Celebrating the Women of Football. And we looked around. We were going every single year to Super Bowl week, and there are events all day long and every night during Super Bowl week. But we noticed there wasn't really an event celebrating what women were doing in the NFL. And quite honestly, at that time, 10, 15 years ago, there weren't that many women in the room. And we didn't run into a lot of other women in the industry. But we were starting to see more. And so 5 years ago, we started the event really just as a celebration. We don't put on a summit or a panel. It's really, truly a time to come together for women to connect with each other, for the men that are supportive of women in the industry to also be there. And it's just a time to reflect on how far we've come and the impact that we can make. And we include women who represent athletes, women who work for teams, coaches, now women in media, and then also players and their wives or their mothers. And so it's going to be fun to see an incredible group of women and men today. We're doing it at Neiman Marcus down here in Miami, they're a partner of ours in this endeavor.
Kelli,
So fifth year.
One final question before we run out of time. What's your prediction on the viability of the XFL, which is supposed to kick off right after the standard NFL season starts? This is the Vince McMahon football
Right.
league. He tried this about 20 years ago. It didn't turn out
Yeah.
so well. How do you think it's going to go now?
I am probably one of the world's biggest skeptics about football startups, startup leagues, just because I've seen so many come and go over the last 15, 20 years. And the number one reason that we see them fold is money. It's always they get into financial straits, and it just can't make it. No doubt the XFL has some incredible coaches involved, some incredible people in personnel. I actually have 4 players currently playing in the XFL, so I hope it makes it. But I really see it as hopefully a great developmental system and a launching pad for players who are trying to get in the NFL or who were in the NFL who are trying to make it and get back to the NFL. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see the product they put on the field.
All right, thank you very much. That's Kelli Masters from KMM Sports Agency. She's down at the Super Bowl, and she will hopefully come back with us soon, give us a little update on how everything went down there. She's talking about financial issues being the one thing that plagues some of these new leagues. And speaking of financial issues, we have a young man who's quite phenomenal joining us right after this. Jack Rosenthal is going to be here. He's a 17-year-old entrepreneur, and he's also the author of a brand new book called Teen Investing, The Ultimate Guide to Teenage Investing. And I'm going to put him to the test right after this.